In High Human Development Index, HDI, nations, where income, education, and life expectancy are elevated, the paradox of rising obesity rates is often reduced to simplistic narratives of personal failure. Common discourse attributes weight gain to laziness, lack of discipline, or poor lifestyle choices, echoing an outdated belief that individuals are solely responsible for their health outcomes. But this framing fails to account for the powerful economic, social, and structural forces that shape eating behavior. In reality, obesity in affluent countries is less a reflection of individual morality and more a symptom of an environment that relentlessly promotes overconsumption. Modern food environments in high HDI nations are characterized by an overabundance of highly processed, hyperpalatable, and aggressively marketed products. These foods, engineered for taste, convenience, and profitability, are not neutral background options. They are designed to override satiety signals, trigger reward pathways, and encourage habitual consumption. From sugary breakfast cereals to fast food value meals, the landscape is saturated with products that deliver large amounts of calories in small, quickly consumed portions. These are not traditional foods, but industrial creations that exploit the brain's pleasure centers while offering little in the way of lasting nourishment. Blaming individuals in this context ignores the sheer ubiquity and accessibility of such foods. In high-income nations, calorie-dense products are often cheaper, more heavily advertised, and more widely available than nutrient-dense alternatives. Supermarkets dedicate entire aisles to snacks and soda. Convenience stores offer little more than processed options. Cafeterias, vending machines, and even hospital food courts often reflect the same calorie-rich, fiber-poor patterns. These aren't simply preferences, they are the structural defaults baked into daily life. Moreover, the modern lifestyle in high HDI countries has shifted in ways that further enable passive overconsumption. Workdays are longer and more sedentary. Commuting eats into time that might otherwise be spent preparing meals. Families eat together less often. Screens dominate leisure time, and stress levels remain high. All of these trends interact with food environment cues, such as constant availability, oversized portions, and mindless snacking habits, to push people toward excess calorie intake without conscious intent. The result is not gluttony, but a slow, cumulative drift toward weight gain that becomes difficult to reverse. Even more telling is the fact that obesity rates tend to be highest in economically disadvantaged communities within wealthy nations. This pattern alone challenges the myth that laziness is the root cause. Individuals in these communities often work multiple jobs, experience high levels of stress, and live in areas where fresh produce is scarce, fast food is plentiful, and time for cooking is limited. The issue isn't a lack of effort, it's a lack of access and structural support. The focus on personal responsibility also masks the role of corporate interests in shaping public health outcomes. Food companies in high HDI countries invest billions in marketing, targeting children and low-income populations with tailored campaigns. Nutritional confusion is amplified by contradictory health claims, opaque labeling, and pseudo-healthy processed foods that mislead even the well-intentioned. Governments, often influenced by industry lobbying, have been slow to implement meaningful reform, from regulating marketing to subsidizing healthier food options. What emerges is a deeply unfair equation. Individuals are blamed for outcomes that are largely the result of systemic design. This not only perpetuates stigma, but also distracts from real solutions. It shifts attention away from the need for structural change, policy reform, food system innovation, community support, and instead reinforces a narrative of shame and guilt that helps no one. A more accurate and constructive view sees obesity in high HDI nations as the predictable result of an environment optimized for consumption rather than health. Addressing it requires re-engineering that environment to support better choices by default. That means investing in nutrition education, but also redesigning food systems to make whole, minimally processed foods more accessible, affordable, and appealing. It means regulating portion sizes, improving food labeling, and reducing the aggressive marketing of junk food. It also requires broadening the conversation around health to include social determinants, such as housing, income, education, and stress, which all impact eating behavior in subtle but powerful ways. Ultimately, reframing obesity as an environmental and economic issue rather than a personal failing is not about absolving individuals of agency. It's about acknowledging that agency is shaped and often constrained by context. When we recognize this, we can stop blaming people and start changing the systems around them. In doing so, we create not only a healthier population, but a more just and compassionate society.